In every video game that we play, there are these special moments that stick with us. Moments that will always resurface when we think back on those games. A few of these for me, personally, includes Lyn critting Bot of the Beasts in the prologue of Blazing Sword, Geralt walking out on the balcony of Kaer Morhen for the first time in The Witcher 3, and the Battle of Ostagar and the amazing storytelling surrounding it from Dragon Age Origins. Today, I am going to share my favorite of those moments, from one of my favorite games of all time, Advanced Wars 2 Black Hole Rising. Over the past month, I have been playing this game a lot to get through a pretty rough period of my life, and after doing so, I really came to appreciate a very special moment. A moment I'd like to share with you all. The story in the Advanced Wars series is for the most part pretty silly, but it has a lovable, goofy atmosphere that doesn't take itself too seriously. While war itself plays a central theme in the universe of this game, the darker aspects of it, such as death and human suffering, is often swept under the rug. It is mentioned every now and then that war is bad and is not something we should be excited about, but for the most part, the actual war aspect of Advanced Wars is downplayed in an attempt to keep this game child-friendly. Or at least that's what they were going for until they took a complete 180 with Days of Ruin, but hey, that's a topic for another video. Today I want to talk to you all about one of my favorite missions in Advanced Wars 2, one of the earlier ones you have access to in the Blue Moon campaign. Today we take a look at what was found in Olaf's hometown. Before we start, we should briefly introduce Olaf as a commander. He's a pompous braggart whose troops are trained to fight in the snow. He's a little bit like if Santa Claus was a Russian military general. Now back in Advanced Wars 1, Olaf was the first antagonist you encountered. In this game, he's the commander of Blue Moon, a neighboring nation who declares war on the player shortly before the start of the campaign. As a commander, Olaf frequently makes tactical blunders, such as brazenly charging into battle without first assessing the situation, and stuff like forgetting to refuel his airplanes before a battle, causing them to crash. Olaf therefore acts as a bit of a tutorial for the player, showing you how to not play Advanced Wars. As the battle against Blue Moon escalates from a border skirmish into an all-out war, Olaf grows more and more reckless with every battle, until finally he breaks down and admits defeats. In the end, it turns out Olaf wasn't behind the invasion of Orange Star, but was just being manipulated by the main villain of the game. Turns out, he wasn't really all that bad, he was just being taken advantage of. Olaf can even have a redeeming moment at the end of the game, joining the player's side in the final battle to take revenge, if you make certain choices during the campaign. Throughout all of this, one thing is very clear. Olaf is a bit of an idiot, but he loves his country and would do anything to protect it. For some reason, I always took a strange liking to Olaf in my early days of playing Advanced Wars. Maybe it was just the fact that he was this brash, arrogant, pompous guy that made it snow, or maybe I felt a bit of kinship with him due to how he kept messing up his tactics and never learned from his mistakes. It does kind of remind me of someone I know. Whatever the reason was, Olaf quickly became one of my favorite commanders in Advanced Wars. I would always play as him versus my friends. I was therefore very happy when we saw him go from the role of a comedic villain in the first game to a respected commander of his nation in the sequel. You see, in Advanced Wars 1, you were only ever allowed to play as the Orange Star commanders in the campaign. But in Advanced Wars 2, you actually got to play as all the nations, including Blue Moon. And one of the earlier missions in the Blue Moon campaign ended up becoming one of my favorites, a mission called Toy Box, which opens up with a simple question: what was found in Olaf's hometown? The mission itself starts with Olaf and his two commanders Grit and Colin marching their troops towards an unknown destination. Olaf seems cheery, at least more than usual, and when Colin asks him what lies ahead, Olaf reveals that the location they are marching towards is the town where he was born. He's excited to meet all his old friends again and show them how far he's risen through the ranks of the military. As the town comes into view, something immediately feels off. Instead of a quiet mountain city covered in a blanket of snow, the only thing they find is devastation and death. It turns out that Lash, the demonic child prodigy of the Black Hole Army, has turned the town into her personal playground, using it to conduct terrible experiments, warping it beyond recognition. Roads are scattered everywhere, everything lies in ruins. As Olaf overlooks the shambles of what was once his home, he becomes enraged, telling Grit and Colin to not get involved. This fight is personal. As Olaf successfully beats the Black Hole forces and takes back control of his hometown, the joy of victory the player normally feels after completing a mission is soon replaced by a different feeling, one of emptiness. As Olaf looks out across the hellscape that was his hometown, he starts to reminisce and talk about his upbringing. He points out where his house used to be, and where he used to play with the other kids, and how the snow never bothered them at all. It is at this point that it hits you like a truck. All of Olaf's friends, and possibly family, are dead. We know this because no prisoners of war rush out to meet him upon his victory. The town is completely empty. Nothing remains. As Olaf sheds a tear overlooking his destroyed hometown, the story takes a tragic turn on a level I did not expect to find in an Advanced Wars game. Olaf, a goofy, comic relief type character who spends most of the first game messing up and looking like a clown, suddenly feels very human. To me, the way they managed to transform his character in a very believable way will always be why this is one of my favorite moments in Advanced Wars. And then Dual Strike ruined everything. Okay, so I hate to turn such an emotionally charged video into a rant, but I cannot in good conscience talk about this without mentioning one of my biggest disappointments in Advanced Wars storytelling ever, which is how Dual Strike missed out on the biggest opportunity ever. Now, contrary to what some people may think, I really enjoy Dual Strike. It is by far the game I play the most with my friends due to its balance changes and intricate skill system, which adds a lot of depth in multiplayer matches. However, I think we can all agree that Dual Strike's story is pretty awful. It has its moments for sure, but I kinda get the same vibe from it that I got from Fire Emblem Fates. It just doesn't try very hard, it's a little lazy and cuts a lot of corners. However, there is a specific mission that almost had me fooled. For a moment, at least. A moment where I thought Dual Strike just pulled off something absolutely genius. You see, just like Olaf went from being a villain in Advanced Wars 1 to a protagonist in Advanced Wars 2, we get to see two Black Hole CEOs, Lash and Hawk, follow the same path in Dual Strike. When Hawk starts asking a few too many questions and gets a bit too close to the new commander-in-chief of the new Black Hole army, he suddenly finds himself in trouble. Together with Lash, they are both hunted down and forced to run for their lives. And when they are rescued by the allied nations, they decide to join them. More out of necessity than any desire to do what's right. But over time, they prove to be useful allies, and are even invited to a barbecue with the other commanders. However, during a mission, something extremely unexpected happens. Out of nowhere, the snow starts rolling in, and the allied nations suddenly find themselves under attack by none other than the commander-in-chief of Blue Moon, Olaf, whose motivations for attacking them remains a mystery. I remember so vividly the first moment I saw that Olaf was the upcoming enemy commander. The fanboy in me went crazy. What incredible continuity from Advanced Wars 2. In that game, upon retaking his hometown, Olaf said the following: "Black Hole, for this there can be no forgiveness." And who are the allied nations currently harboring within their ranks? Lash, the commander responsible for wiping out Olaf's hometown, and most likely killing his friends and family. Olaf is a known hothead, so him switching sides to attack the allied nations upon learning that they have allied themselves with two former Black Hole CEOs actually makes a ton of sense. To see Olaf go from villain, then to protagonists, and then back to villain again was such an interesting concept to me. And it also gives an excuse for the player to fight someone who's not from Black Hole for a change. My head was spinning, thinking of all the possible ways the story could evolve from here. How would Grit, Colin, and Sasha, who were all present with the allied nations, react to Olaf turning on them? Would they stay with their current allies, or join their commander-in-chief? This could be a real split for the good guys, a huge turning point in the war, a conflict from within. The possibilities were endless. Sadly, this insane plot twists turned out to be nothing. You see, it wasn't Olaf who attacked the allied nations, but in actuality, an Olaf clone. Yeah. Dual Strike took the one plot device from the first game that they hoped everyone kind of forgot about. You know, that one time when they cloned Andy to start a war? And they decided to bring this garbage storyline back, because who needs to write compelling stories where former allies turn on each other as a direct consequence of their actions? when you can just clone people. This was the big nail in the coffin for me when it came to Dual Strike's story. After this, I completely stopped caring about the game's plot. But I will always remember what possibly could have been. Despite the major disappointment that was Dual Strike's story, I don't think it detracts anything away from the original moment in Advanced Wars 2. The moment where Olaf, a comic relief type villain, turns into a sympathetic protagonist, all by merely showing a piece of his humanity to the player. To me, this masterfully written mission will always be one of my favorite memories from gaming as a whole, and that is why I will always remember what was found in Olaf's hometown. Thanks a lot for watching. This is the first official gameplay related video to be released in a while on the channel, and I'd appreciate more than ever hearing what you have to say in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video and want to see more Advanced Wars content, you can recruit the like button into the Blue Moon Army by clicking on it. Also, if you want to check out another video I made about the Valley of Neotanks, you can click on that in front of you if you find that interesting. It's a bit of a stupid video, but hey. My name has been Mangs, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.